Hello, and welcome to this brief explanation of Bunnell High School's expectations for student learning. During the slide presentation, you will learn about Bunnell's 7 expectations for student learning and how we assess those expectations. On various slides, you will notice a small picture of the TV, like the one in the lower left corner of this slide. If you click on these TVs, you will see a brief video that explains the topic of the slide and provides additional information about expectations for student learning. When the video is finished, you will need to close the Windows Media Viewed box to continue with the slideshow. At this point, please watch the video or continue on to the next slide. August 2010, the faculty of Bunnell High School approved our current school mission after several years of review at both the district and school level. Many people were consulted about this mission statement, including community leaders, parents, alumni, students, and teachers. Our mission statement is very simple. Students will acquire content knowledge, strengthen higher order thinking, and develop character in order to address 21st century challenges. Though it is simple, our mission statement addresses the fundamental points our community believes are necessary to educate students. Content knowledge, or the information you learn in specific courses, is necessary to lay a foundation for further education and success at work. We want to go beyond just memorizing information to understanding at a deep level, requiring higher order thinking. We also want students to be respectful, responsible, trustworthy, fair, caring citizens of our community. And last of all, we know that whatever we teach students today will only be a guide into the complexities of our ever-changing 21st century world. When you are ready, please continue to the next slide. To measure whether we are successful in fulfilling our school mission, we have defined 7 expectations for student learning that we will use to assess all students in all classes. These 7 expectations are: information literacy. Students will use real-world digital and other research tools to access, evaluate, and effectively apply information appropriate for authentic tasks. Collaboration. Students will work independently and collaboratively to solve problems and accomplish goals. Communication. Students will communicate information clearly and effectively using a variety of tools and media in varied contexts for a variety of purposes. When you are ready, please continue to the next slide. Creative thinking. Students will demonstrate innovation, flexibility, and adaptability in thinking patterns, work habits, and working learning conditions. Critical thinking. Students will effectively apply the analysis, synthesis, and evaluation processes that enable productive problem solving. Personal responsibility. Students will understand and demonstrate personal responsibility, character, cultural understanding, and ethical behavior. Academic proficiency. Students will show competence in all core academic subjects and other fields of interest, including the ability to clearly and effectively communicate content information in multiple formats. The following slides provide information about each of these 7 expectations. When you are ready, please continue to the next slide. With the rapid growth of internet resources and digitized information, today's students can easily access more information in a minute than students could find in the largest university library 50 years ago. With so much information at their fingertips, today's students need to become information literate. At its simplest, information literacy consists of 5 skills. The first is simply knowing when one needs information to clarify thinking or to support a statement. The second skill is knowing where and how to find that information. Do you go to the library or the internet, and how can you use resources efficiently? The third skill is knowing how to determine if the information you find is reliable or not. For example, if you Google even the simplest term, you will get millions of hits, and most of them will be low quality, questionable, or downright made-up facts. How do you know if the information you're quoting is accurate as opposed to just being a piece of information smog? The fourth information literacy skill is being able to organize information in a logical and useful manner. For example, should you just quote facts, or should you organize information into a list, or maybe even present it in a graph? How you organize information is often the difference between a really sound piece of work and something that is routine. The final skill is using and citing information accurately and ethically. The resources from which you received the information deserve to be cited because the authors deserve credit for what they did, and citations help others determine the quality of the information you are using. When you are ready, please continue to the next slide. In the 21st century, almost all work will be conducted in teams or groups, and learning how to work effectively with others is an essential work and learning skill. Collaborating successfully involves at least 4 essential skills. First and foremost is that one understands that the group exists to achieve a specific goal or to create a specific product. Time together as a group, therefore, should be focused on the goal or product on which the group is working. Second, everyone in the group has to contribute actively to the group's goal or product. Everyone has unique skills and talents, and successful groups are ones in which each member brings something valuable to the goal or product. Nothing sours a group faster than having one person do all the work or having one person who just rides along for free. To accomplish success, group members must learn to encourage the participation of all members by acknowledging and valuing their ideas and contributions. High-performance work groups are ones where members know how to build on one another's ideas and ones where everybody can add something. Last of all, members of a working group have to be prepared to assume different jobs and roles as circumstances dictate. Sometimes one member will be a leader, and at other times he or she might be someone who keeps records. Over time, though, all members have to be prepared to share responsibility fully for achieving the group's goal or completing its product. When you are ready, please continue to the next slide. In survey after survey, employers in the United States say that the most important skill they look for in employees is the ability to communicate. The goal of communication is to present information in a clear and coherent manner, presenting the necessary information in a way that is specific, direct, and understood by the audience. People who beat around the bush and never get to the point, or people who are confusing in how they explain things, will not be as successful in school and work as those who get to the point and know how to present information step by step. In addition, today's students and employees have to be ready to present information in a variety of ways, including speaking, writing, and presentations using graphics and technology. These days, we cannot assume that all communications will take place face-to-face, and online communication to people thousands of miles away are increasingly common in schools and businesses. Today's students also have to be prepared to tailor their presentation to their specific audience and for the purpose intended. For example, most students know that a formal presentation to the school board should look and sound very different than an informal presentation of a class assignment. Finally, to be good at communication, one must first be a good and active listener. Listening to people with your full attention is the quickest way to understand what they understand and what they need from you and what they need to do to enhance their own ability to communicate. By listening to others communicate, we learn what we can do to communicate better. When you are ready, please continue to the next slide. In the 21st century, successful people will need to be creative thinkers. The world is changing rapidly. There is a saying in education that we are currently preparing students for jobs that don't yet exist, using technologies that haven't been invented in order to solve problems we don't even know are problems yet. To do this, students will have to demonstrate originality, ingenuity, and innovation. Today's students will also have plenty of leisure time in which to pursue artistic activities that require creativity on the part of the artist and appreciation of creativity on the part of the audience. In order to demonstrate creative thinking, students have to be prepared to explore different approaches to problems or aesthetic issues. They need to understand what has been done before and use that understanding as a beginning point to explore never-before-approached or original ideas. Like other forms of thinking, creativity is a step-by-step process through which the creative person takes a solution or an aesthetic activity to the next level. Finally, creative thinkers present their ideas or products to others for feedback so they can continue to refine and improve. When you are ready, please continue to the next slide. Critical thinking is the hallmark of a well-educated person. It starts with identifying a problem to be addressed and asking fundamental questions about the nature and details of the problem. Then, the critical thinker collects information so that he or she truly understands the problem under review. At this point, it is important to distinguish between evidence or facts and beliefs or opinions. Next, the critical thinker uses logical analysis, or analysis specific to the course of study, to explain the problem and to develop solutions. Without this structured approach to analysis and explanation, one's thinking may be interesting and creative, but it cannot be called truly critical. A critical issue at this point is that one must be aware of and cautious about one's assumptions and biases. Critical thinking requires that we challenge our ideas by holding them up to structured and systematic analysis and review, free from any preconceived ideas one may have. Finally, the critical thinker tries out a solution and carefully observes the results to determine that the solution, in fact, works, and to improve upon it if it does not. Wendy, please continue to the next slide. Personal responsibility is the #1 workforce need cited by employers across the United States, and irresponsible behavior in one form or another is the largest single reason that employers mention for a decision to fire an employee. Students in the 21st century need to accept that they are individually responsible for their performance, and they accept responsibility for setting goals for themselves and by making plans to achieve those goals. In school, responsible students set goals such as earning a grade of B or better in a class and set up specific plans to achieve that goal. For example, by seeking out after-school tutoring when they don't understand something in class. Responsible individuals also work consistently to the highest of their ability and thereby show teachers and others that they care about their performance and how they are perceived. They also understand that we are all here to do our jobs and that the best and most comfortable way for that to happen is to always demonstrate polite and cooperative behavior to others. Finally, a responsible student respects individual differences and values the diversity of our school community, since our diversity broadens our understanding of our world and ourselves. When you are ready, please continue to the next slide. Bunnell High School's final expectation for student learning is the easiest for us to understand. We are first and foremost a learning community, and we expect that all students will work to understand all core academic subjects well. Success in secondary English, math, science, social studies, and world languages are expected of today's students and are required for admission to college and employment in most fields. We also expect that students will broaden their understanding of the world by studying other subjects that fit with their interests. In all subjects studied in high school, the most fundamental expectation is that students will understand the core information covered in the course and will be able to communicate their understanding to others. When you are ready, please continue to the next slide. Thank you for listening to this slide presentation. If you have any questions about any of the material covered in this presentation, or if you would like to know more about how we assess and teach any of the skills mentioned, please contact any professional member of the Bunnell High School faculty.